Welcome students. Today we discuss the taxonomy and systematics. Taxonomy and systematics is under Unit 1, Diversity of Living Organisms. It consists of three subtopics. One is taxonomy and systematics and their definition. Another one is taxonomic hierarchy, lineage with example. Third one is binomial nomenclature. Today we discuss on taxonomy and systematics and its definition. Now, the term taxonomy was coined by the Swedish botanist A.P. de Candolle in his book Theorie Elementaire de la Botanique in 1813. It is very important. And next, go through the definition. Plant taxonomy can be defined as the branch of botany which deals with characterization, identification, classification, and nomenclature of plants based on their similarities and differences. Now, what are the goals of plant taxonomy? The goals of plant taxonomy are: firstly, the identification. What is identification? Identification is the identify the unknown species based on its characteristics and by comparing with already existing species. Okay. Then the characterization. Characterization to describe all the characteristics of the newly identified species. Then the classification, placing and arranging the known species into different groups or taxa according to similarities and dissimilarities. Next one, that is the last one, is nomenclature, giving the scientific name according to the convention. According to G.H.M. Lawrence, 1955, taxonomy is a science which comprises of three main components. This is very important. Previously, we mentioned four characters. Here, according to Lawrence, taxonomy is a science which comprises of three main components. These are identification, nomenclature, classification of organisms. What is identification? It is assigning an organism with its correct name and placing it in its proper taxonomic category with the help of its specific characteristics. On the basis of these characteristics, identification, here we describe. Another one is nomenclature. It deals with the determination of the correct scientific name. To know plant or animal, nomenclature should follow international rules. Then classification, arrangement of organisms into groups on the basis of their affinities or relationship is termed as classification. Then it is very important. Here we learn about relation between taxonomy and systematics. What is systematics? At first, it is very important to know. The word systematics comes from the word systema, meaning the systematic arrangement of the organisms. The term systematic was coined by Carolus Linnaeus, the father of taxonomy. you know, it takes into consideration the evolutionary relationship of the organisms. Plant systematics deals with the interrelation between plants and their evolutionary descent. Systematics studies biological diversity and organizes the information into a classification. Isn't it? Now, here we learn the simpler form of definition according to G.G. Simpson. At first, from the Latinized Greek word, early we mentioned the Latin word, but here it is clearly mentioned the Latinized Greek word systema, organized whole, as applied to systems of classification developed by early naturalists, notably Carolus Linnaeus, 1735, in his book Systema Naturae. According to G.G. Simpson, 1961, it is the scientific study of the kinds and diversity of organisms and of any and all relationships, all biological interactions among them. It is very clear, isn't it? Next, H.L. Manson, 1950, treated taxonomy as broad field, which includes four main subjects: systematics, one, another is taxonomic system, another is nomenclature, and another one is documentation. It means systematics is a part of taxonomy. What is the relationship in between taxonomy and systematics? Learn from the table. Taxonomy is discipline of classifying organisms into taxa. Systematics is broad field of biology that studies the diversification of species. In case of taxonomy, governs the practice of naming, describing, identifying, and specimen preservation. In case of systematics, governs the evolutionary history and phylogenetic relationship in addition to taxonomy. In case of taxonomy, classification plus nomenclature equal to taxonomy. In case of systematics, taxonomy plus phylogeny equal to systematics. Is not it? After the description, our conclusion is here. Okay. Next, the stages of taxonomy. In the stages of taxonomy, first one is alpha taxonomy, then beta taxonomy, then gamma taxonomy. Another one is omega taxonomy. Here, three important taxonomical stages we mention. It is concerned with finding, describing, and naming of organisms. This is the first and basic step in the taxonomy, that is alpha taxonomy. In case of beta taxonomy, it includes identification of natural groups and biological classes. In the gamma taxonomy, it includes study of evolutionary process and patterns. Here, again, we will try to learn the relationship of the taxonomy and systematic more clearly. Taxonomy versus systematics. Taxonomy consists of two words, that is Greek word taxis and nomos. Taxis means arrangement and nomos means laws. Whereas systematic comes from systema, a Latinized Greek word meaning systematic arrangement. Term taxonomy coined first A.P. the Candolle in the year 1813 in his book Theorie élémentaire de la botanique. Whereas the term systematic coined first by Carolus Linnaeus in the year 1735 in his book Systema Naturae. Deals with, third option is deals with. Deals with, that is taxonomy deals with characterization, identification, nomenclature, and classification. At the same time, whereas in case of systematic deals with taxonomy and phylogeny. Taxonomy deals with characterization, identification, nomenclature, and classification. And phylogeny deals with evolutionary relationship of an organism. Importance of plant taxonomy. What is the importance of plant taxonomy? Number one, diversity of living world. It gives information about the specific habitat, habits, characteristics, affinities, etc. of different organisms. Next one is a universal system. Taxonomy provides a universal system and helps in communication between biologists. Third one is evolutionary relations. By knowing similarities and dissimilarities of various categories of organisms, along with the study of fossils, biologists are able to know the evolutionary sequences or phylogeny of different kinds of organisms. Next one is other biological sciences. It is very useful for knowing organisms being used in the study of genetics, cytology, physiology, pathology, etc. Harmful organism taxonomy also useful in recognizing harmful organism, weeds, vectors, pests and pathogen. Next one is medicinal plants. Many medicines are obtained from plants. A systematic biology or systematic knowledge is essential for their identification. Next one is new organisms. Systematics helps us to identify the newly discovered organisms. All breeding programs require the knowledge of different traits present in different varieties, subspecies, and related species. Indicator organisms. Some organisms function as indicator of habitats. Here, taxonomy is very essential to identify them. Forestry and study of ecology. Forest management and study of ecology are possible only with the sound knowledge of taxonomy. New source of food. Systematics helps in finding out new food resources such as fishes, arthropods, algae, etc. It is next one is very important topic and importance of taxonomy conservation. In case of conservation, taxonomy help us in the identification of useful organisms and thus in conservation of natural resources. Synopsis of importance of plant taxonomy. Now, all the discussions about importance of taxonomy, we conclude or we come to the conclusion that taxonomy gives a detailed overview of various morphological and anatomical structures of a plant species. It organizes all the information of plants into an orderly fashion. It indicates the phylogenetic relationship between species and its ancestry. Plant taxonomy enables to identify any unknown species and its place in the classification by comparing with known species. Analysis of genetic constituents can be done on the basis of systematics. It is used to scientifically name any species which help in the uniformity of the name around the world and avoid confusion. It helps to understand the biodiversity present at a place. It helps in recording all the living species known until now. Taxonomy is widely used in the agriculture, medicine, and forestry, which we have mentioned earlier. This is the all about taxonomy and systematics as per your syllabus, West Bengal Council of Higher Secondary Education. Next topic is, which already I mentioned at the time of initiation of this video, that is taxonomic hierarchy, lineage with example.